actually really liking Rogue Warriors composition. I feel like this time around they've gotten rid of like things like the Viego not being in this means that they still have an easier time at these team fights. They got great late game scaling coming through with the Akali, the Camille, and the pick potential still really strong with that Ashe and Leona combo. So I feel like they're kind of playing off of what they've realized worked really well in game 2 was these kind of early to mid game plays towards that bot side of the map. Whereas for Rare Atom, again, you've got kind of the Gwen and the Aphelios, a lot of late game scaling there. And they've got a bit of an easier early game. Sorry, I suppose a mid game kind of coming through with the Olaf and also having the Zoe now going across to FoFo. Means that they should be able to try and contest a little bit more of what Xiaohao wants to do in these early stages.
We'll see if they can contest the early game, because it feels like for Rare Atom, if they could stop the early action, if they could stop Xiaohao taking control, perhaps they'll be in a much better position as they head towards the mid-game, and instead of having to climb back from a deficit, could just push forward with a win. Because when we've seen Rare Atom wins historically, it has been very much a matter of win lane, win game, right? Not necessarily in the IG or top esports way, but just have minor advantages across all of your lanes. They have really strong laners, like especially iBoy. When you look at the laning stats, he's pretty much best in class across the board. Where he's got the highest CSD at 15. He's got second highest gold difference, second highest XP difference. He's even got 3 solo kills, which as an AD carry doesn't happen all that often, right? It does feel like if they can extend those laning phases and actually have an advantage and going into the mid game, they'll be looking at a win.
Forge with a nice ward there just to spot out where Leyan was. So they will have full understanding of, hey, Leyan started on his Raptors, would probably go red in towards his Krugs and just go for that full clear into bot side. Whereas when we look towards Xiaohao, also going to be matching pretty much that same clear in towards the bottom half of the map. Now, Betty and Chocho last game didn't quite get the push, but we'll have to see if when he has that volley, he can actually get that shove against iBoy. But Hung and iBoy doing a really good job of contesting the wave so far.
Yeah, this time Chocho on that Leona instead of the Braum that we saw last game does mean he can be a little bit more proactive as they fight for the level 2, and it feels like this could be a level 2 all-in that we get to see from either side. Chocho finishing that one more minion for Betty to finish, and it will be Rogue Warriors that win the level 2. Hung and iBoy have to fully respect this one and just allow the wave to push in.
And the difference in between supports here actually makes a massive difference for Rogue Warriors in that bottom lane. With the Braum, you're playing much more passive. You're trying to counter the engage from Hung, pop the Unbreakable, stop Betty taking damage from iBoy, and then you turn on towards the AD carry. This time around for Chocho, he's the one that can actually play aggressive, and it's Hung on the Nautilus who has to play in the back foot, because the support matchup means Chocho's just tankier. You can all in the Braum far easier, and especially if you end up getting that hook out early from Hung, you can go for the all-in pretty substantially as Betty.
So Leyan going for a full clear here. As he is on this Olaf, you can double camp right from the word go. Able to get the sustain from the Grump, from your smite as well. And he'll be able to finish that one off. Xiaohao moving in though. Had vision. Knew what was going on. He's 2 camps behind, which means he is a level behind at this point, but he's still having to go for the 1v1. That's an Olaf. Low health is a buff for him, and he's going to be able to just win it. Xiaohao, surely you know that you don't win that one.
I thought he was going to, like, at least smite the crab or something to try and get that help, but I don't think he was expecting the burst damage to come through, and it means that without the smite, Xiaohao doesn't get the heal, can't kill Leyan, and doesn't even have the CC. Honestly, that was a really strange decision from Xiaohao. Kill now for Olaf, double crabs, and he'll get an insane reset here as Leyan.
That is disastrous
right
for Xiaohao. A guy that literally has set the pace for Rogue Warriors in all their most recent series. He's been the one getting Betty and Chocho ahead in the bottom side. Now Leyan gets to drop himself a deep ward onto the Grump, gets to go for the reset, or just go straight towards his chickens again and just get those camps cycling. Leyan, the jungle is his oyster at this point.
Yeah, and he is going to start to cycle his camps. Means that he can reset, then go for the in towards the bottom side and actually look towards this dragon when it spawns. It's going to be super difficult for Rogue Warriors to try and contest because you're actually getting the quicker resets coming through from iBoy and Hung, so they'll have full pressure. But Xiaohao's already on the back foot, so this is where Rare Atom now, they can look to actually control the objectives. This is where Rare Atom can play their regular game and not fall behind to Rogue Warriors.
And it's a heartbreaking start for Xiaohao after getting so much praise from everyone recently, being kind of the difference maker for this team that has been very much an underdog team, to come into this game and fall behind off of a coin flip, no less. Off of basically a play saying, yeah, I reckon I could take this, and being wrong on that decision. It's going to be a rough one to come back from mentally for the player, but I'm excited to see if they can. This is an opportunity for Rogue Warriors to show us a depth of strategy that we've been kind of waiting to see.
And they might actually get a bit of an opportunity here. I was hoping to see Xiaohao kind of just gun it down towards the bottom side of the map, but he needs to finish off that Grom to get mana. You don't have iBoy reset. iBoy reset very, very late, so potentially try and jump on towards this dragon, but Xiaohao still on that top side means that they're not actually going to be able to contest this dragon, and instead he's going to look to try and get an invade off, but we already talked about those quick resets from Leyan where he cycled his camps already on the top side, so Xiaohao will come away empty-handed with dragon going the direction of Rare Atom.
And Leyan already took his top side camps, so won't even lose much on the top side of the map either. Xiaohao kind of goes home empty-handed from this one. Feels like the gap between these junglers, not just in terms of like the meme of jungle gap, but in terms of like the actual gold right now, it's almost a 20 CS lead in favor of Leyan. With that kill on top of it, the individual gold difference is almost 1,000 already in the game.
And again, like, this is just leaving that isolated matchup for Cube in the top lane. He's hit 6. He's already got that nice CS lead for himself. So again, Cube kind of being able to bully out this early matchup where we already talked about, you know, having that range, having that extra armor, and also the true damage from Cube, giving him the advantage.
Forge is in trouble. The bubble doesn't land though, and the hook doesn't either. Hung. I mean, it's a level 6 Akali, so doesn't actually commit to anything. Hung will be fine on this one with his shield, but that looked a little bit dicey for a second there. Rare Atom trying to make a play onto mid. It doesn't work out in the end. Forge just trying to get a reset, but it will be denied by FoFo here. And this is exactly the kind of early game that Rare Atom love, right? Slow-paced, just winning out your lanes individually, just slowly but surely finding advantages. Leyan taking over the jungle here, and they can just cruise through now, focus on getting Drakes, focus on getting Herald, and then look for fights later on.
And I think as well, having FoFo in control of the mid lane makes such a big difference. And QiuQiu actually
find the bottom side here. It's huge damage onto Hung as well. It's actually an ignite used, but not going to be able to get anything. And even a heal came out of Betty there. I think maybe for movement speed. So maybe a little trigger happy from the bottom lane of Rogue Warriors here, but just desperately trying to use and abuse that level 6 spike that they had coming out from Betty.
I think as well, trying to make sure that they can push in bot side. Now they have full control bot lane. They can move up towards Rift Herald and actually deny Rare Atom where they're strongest on the map. You can see already Betty and QiuQiu moving up. Hung has got to reset. He's incredibly late. And iBoy is still trying to deal with that wave bot. So Rogue Warriors might be able to make this play happen towards that Rift Herald, but do need to be careful. No ult for Betty.
No ult for Betty here. Xiaohao already onto the Herald now. There is no direct vision, but RA are fully aware that this is going on right now. Leyan going to clear some vision on the top side. ZWuJi could be in trouble. In fact, Leyan doesn't even commit to finishing that one off. He's going to be spotted as he walks in here. The contest comes through, but Xiaohao gets the Herald preemptively. There's a bubble coming on in. Crescent Guard wasn't used here. Could be the pick, but the Paddle Star doesn't come on through. They're going on to the Olaf instead. Perfect execution as Rogue Warriors look to take themselves a fight here, but it's ZWuJi to fall next. And Rare Atom still have health bars to work with. FoFo with a Paddle Star flashes forward, but it's answered by 2 on the side of Rogue Warriors. They get under the tower, they get the Herald, and they get out.
Rogue Warriors just needed to take the pick on towards Leyan and back up, but now still sitting here under the tower.
Going for a dive here. QiuQiu is tanky though, and Hung can't really go any further than he tried to there. Will just be the wave taken away in the end. The Rogue Warriors managed to defend the tower.
Rogue Warriors defend the tower, they get the 1-for-1, and they get the Rift Herald. With how much pressure Rare Atom had on the map, it's a miracle that they managed to, but again, it was that play from Betty and QiuQiu on the bottom side that set it up, and honestly, a mistake from Hung. We already said, Hung, you play defensive in this lane. You do not go aggressive against Betty and QiuQiu, and the second Hung did, he ended up costing it. Now, you can see here, for Rogue Warriors, they get the Herald, they get the pick onto Leyan. You just peace out at this stage. Or you don't need to try and commit on any further on this. I think this is where the mistake comes through. You've already got what you want, just back away. But going in that bit too far means ZDZ dies. You end up burning 2 flashes on Forge and Chocho. Taking off more than they can chew in that situation.
And they can chew a lot, let me tell you. They've got some big gobs across the team. But regardless of chewability, Rogue Warriors do manage to find themselves a way to get an advantage. And I think that's an important thing to establish here, is the fact that Xiaohao, yes, he has the Herald, but we need to see it used effectively to turn into gold, because on just face value, Rare Atom are still ahead in gold, they're still ahead in kills, Leyan still massively ahead in that jungle. I mean, look at the CS difference. Xiaohao waiting in the bottom side, but he's spotted out by a turret. That means
I don't think that turret actually did. I don't think that turret's in the bush. I think they just got baited because it didn't start to auto-attack them.
It activated. It activated, right? So they know that it's... So even though the turret didn't actually see them, it activated outside the turret, which means somebody is inside that brush, right? So it still gives the information without giving vision.
Silly.
Aphelios things.
Yeah. Either way, you can still see Rogue Warriors trying to play through what was the original game plan, right? Still try and play through this bottom side, look for the picks, and unfortunately for them though, they're not finding the success, and they wanted to try and make that play happen before the dragon spawn, but with FoFo now shoving in mid, it's Rare Atom who get to the play first, and it looks like they should be able to take the dragon without any sort of contest.
Alright, 2 Drakes on the trot here for Rare Atom. They didn't manage to get the first Herald, but they'll perhaps look to try and get the second one next. iBoy once again on this Aphelios. We saw what he could do in the late game in those team fights with the Aphelios. He struggled for the vast majority of last game, but when it mattered most in that fight around Baron, he was able to step up and do a massive chunk of damage across the board. And this time around, he's learned from last game's mistake. He's like, you know what? I'm going to need myself a shield bow.
Yeah, and I think it's a good call here. I'm kind of looking at where Xiaohao wants to try and use this Rift out. I feel like it is down towards the shield bow lanes. I feel like trying to get Betty ahead again, unlock him from the bottom half of the map, start to use these enchanted crystal arrows will help make these picks happen for Rogue Warriors where they can try and close the gap. Now, although it's only 1,000 gold lead, we already said, like, you have an Aphelios, you have a Gwen who's scaling towards the late game. You have 2 dragons already picked up for Rare Atom. Like, they are certainly in control of this game so far.
That Moonlight Vigil so close to landing onto Betty, and then he just drops a cheeky thumbs up like, yeah, good effort, mate, good effort, but not today, Sonny Jim. Does have that enchanted crystal arrow available as Forge takes a paddle start to the face there. Herald just going to be slammed bot. Not even going to try and set up the long-term play, not going to try and set up the dive. Just going to drop the Herald, make sure that they can get gold onto Betty before Leyan can answer, as Leyan was grabbing the blue buff on the top side. Betty was not in range. Hadn't hit the tower recently, so Xiaohao is actually going to be the one to get all of the gold. But hey, at least they get a couple of plays.
Yeah, afraid of overcommitting just because they didn't know where Leyan was. So potential for a depth charge into a bot side play could have been disastrous, but now might think take 2.
There's the arrow coming in, but Hung has a stopwatch to work with. Still a lot of CC though. Now he flashes out to safety. They're following up. The Ignite is there, and it's a kill for Xiaohao. A much needed kill, and now Chocho getting chased down. Leyan wants to extend the play. He is on the Olaf, but looks like he can't close the gap.
Again, great though for Rogue Warriors. They get that pick. They're getting so much gold into our Xiaohao. He got 320 gold for the plates, plus another 300 gold just for that kill as well. So this is a pretty big Xin Xiao right now, and you got to be so careful for Rare Atom because he will be able to sustain quite a bit in these fights, and the 1v1 potential is going to be really hard for them to deal with. As I say that though, he's actually still 400 gold behind, 500 gold behind Leyan, who's had these run-of-the-mill in the early game.
Yeah, and to be fair, comparatively to the gold lead that there was earlier for Leyan, that is very positive, right? Because he was about 800 gold behind before, and pretty much all of that gold difference that he's gained there, the reduced deficit, I guess, is from the 300 gold that he got from the turret plates from the Herald. So that's going to be a nice play to just keep him in the game, keep him relevant, because especially on a Zinzar, when you fall behind, you got to dive into the middle of everyone. If you don't have stats, you're just dead. It's that simple.
And look, he's still 2 levels behind Leyan, so not exactly out of the woods yet, but we'll have to see as this game goes on if Rogue Warriors can continue to do what they've been doing, right? Look for these quick plays off of Xiaohao, Betty, and Chocho. Then Leyan going to move over towards this Rift Herald, but Rare Atom are here to support him, and I don't think Rogue Warriors can really contest this.
Well, they're going to try, because all 5 members of Rogue Warriors are here. Xiaohao looking to move into the pit. Herald down to half. iBoy is chased by ZWuJi. There's an exhaust on the backline, and iBoy survives for now. Rogue Warriors in the pit, though, as the arrow comes through. Blocked by FoFo, and that's Sleepy Trouble, but will flash away from Betty. The flash forward from FoFo, but he doesn't have the damage. Xiaohao gets the Herald. Now FoFo on the backline, trying to escape. Shuriken over the wall. And they'll get away with it. They do manage to get 1 pick for 0 and a Herald. Rogue Warriors, that was messy as hell, but they get away with it.
I think Asterix was right, Budge. This is the Holy Rogue Warriors because they are pulling miracles out of everywhere. They managed to go in towards a play where they're behind in gold, where Rare Adam are set up correctly, and ZWuJi gets on towards iBoy, which causes an absolute mess for Rare Adam. You're going to see it here, right? ZS, great flash on towards iBoy, half health him straight off the bat. And now you've got iBoy and FoFo who are just trying to deal with this Camille in the back line, which means that you've got the rest of Rogue Warriors who can turn towards Rare Adam, force them back, even get the kill on towards Leyan as well, thanks to Forge, and they get the Rift Tower too. Like, somehow Rogue Warriors' early skirmishes keep coming out clutch.
Unbelievable stuff that we're getting to see here from Rogue Warriors. Dagda, I'm just so excited. I'm so excited for what this roster has ahead of them across this split, because again, I want to reiterate, in terms of the standings, it does not look good for Rogue Warriors. They're in 14th. They only have 3 wins. But if they can keep the dream alive against Rare Atom, I can believe that maybe they can do it against others too. Dragging down to 4,000 as FoFo looks to get a bubble out here, and Xiaohao has arrived on the scene. Last one of these tussles we just saw, it was Rogue Warriors to get out ahead. They have their ultimates available here. As Leyan just onto the Drake here. Jungler, same level, Solar Flight goes in with the arrow as well. The CC, Jane is unstoppable, and now they're onto Cube on top of it. This is going to be 3 picks for Rogue Warriors, and Chocho even gets away. Everything they could have ever wanted, and a dragon is the cherry on top.
They're playing around these cooldowns so well. Betty was ticking down the time until that Enchanted Crystal Arrow was available. As soon as it is, straight on towards Hung, they burst out the support and they pile in on top of Leyan as well. Rogue Warriors, this team fighting is insane. They get the Rift Town, Dragon, Towers, and now they have a 3,000 gold lead for themselves in this game. So watch the cooldown on the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Buying time, playing safe, waiting it out, and as soon as it's up and available, boom, straight on towards Hung, and then everyone from the team just power drives in. And again, iBoy, I don't blame him. He has to play these fights so incredibly safe because he has to worry about Forge coming over the top with this Akali and tearing him asunder, and because of that, you buy space for Rogue Warriors to win out on this fight.
We are seeing history being made, Dagda. Rogue Warriors, after falling behind in the early game against Rare Atom, a team that is literally known for dominating when they're ahead in the early game, now managed to find themselves a almost 4,000 advantage in terms of the gold. They managed to find themselves a Drake. They managed to find themselves on the cusp of making many Rogue Warriors fans' dreams come true. Xiaohao has come in and completely transformed this roster. Betty's looking amazing. These crystal arrows are perfect every single time. Hung just doesn't stand a chance.
And the thing is, it's not like Rare Atom just have this get out of jail free button like they did in the last game. Yes, they have that late game scaling, but iBoy is going to find it way more difficult to have a big impact because Forge exists on this Akali. Always threaten the back line. The Aphelios needs to be so careful. And then same when you look towards, the likes of a Viego, it does not equal the same as an Olaf. Olaf doesn't scale particularly well into the late game. So as you start to look at how close that last game was, Rogue Warriors even having an easier time this game and a bigger lead, I'm starting to put the pieces together that Rogue Warriors could actually take this series.
Dagda's on board the hype train. I'm on board the hype train. I mean, me and Lyric made a bit of a hype train for Rogue Warriors back in 2020. It doesn't feel quite as convincing as maybe the one that could be created if Rogue Warriors can win this one. Because Hysterics, he's already well and truly aboard. He's been sipping on that copium, or the hopium, I suppose, since day one of Rogue Warriors here this year. But now it's finally looking like it might come true. Rare Atom, though, still in this game. Still got some scaling. I don't want us to get too far ahead of ourselves. Cube is on this Gwen once more. He had 100% kill participation last time. He completely carried the game. He was such a threat in those fights. And we have FoFo on Zoe. We haven't really talked about it as a pick comes onto Hung. Once again, the Ignite is going to finish him. And that's going to be a flash down on top of the pick. Nautilus' flash is so crucial.
I mean, Baron is in a couple of seconds as well. Now, they may not decide to turn over towards it, but this is why I actually wanted to highlight why I think Rogue Warriors have a much better time this game. So, the last game we were talking about how they wanted to try and play outside lanes, right? And find that way where they can then group and make the pick. It was incredibly tough in the last game because FoFo had the advantage on Syndra in the side lane. Cube as well was having a much better time than ZWuJi. This game, however, Forge is the one with control in the Akali Zoe matchup. ZWuJi is up over Cube right now and is able to go aggressive against Cube. Like, he's nearly a full item ahead of this Gwen right now. So for Rogue Warriors, making these picks becomes far easier because you can group, deny vision from Rare Adam, and consistently look to make that happen. And we just saw it against Hung, right? Hung didn't even overextend. He walked into his red pit to see if he could ward over the wall to try and deny some of this pressure from Rogue Warriors, and he went down as a result.
It was pretty much just a kill over the wall from miles away. And that's one of the things I think people often underestimate, the damage that Ashe actually brings to the table, even with this shield bow build. If you are just left to free fire with lethal tempo, when you activate that Q, you just annihilate with the ranger's focus. The attack speed is insane with lethal tempo. And now Drake's going up in 36 seconds. It feels like Rare Atom. They can still win if they can get that for themselves. This is a huge pick as they manage to find Chocho looking for vision. Double TP from the solo lanes in with a crystalline arrow. It's Hung as the target at the start, but iBoy's caught the backline as well. Both solo lanes just dive on the AD carry, and Cube trying to buy space, trying to buy time. He has some sustain on the Zoe, but in goes the Olaf to the backline. Betsy's going to go down. FoFo playing support for his teammates, and it's chaos across the rift, but Leyan will fall to ZWuJi, and now Forge going to be the next one to go down. Hung on the front line. Forge gets away, but FoFo finishes him up. FoFo taking over. ZWuJi, can he close the gap? I don't think that he can. The trouble bubble goes wide. Both of them have to walk away.
Do they though? Hookshot is still up and available. FoFo still trying to use this range. ZWuJi just manages to escape off the back of that trouble bubble, but that was a fight that could have gone completely hayward for Rogue Warriors, but they just about managed to bring it back off of the two solo laners. Dragon though, it's still up and standing, so he could get a rinse and repeat coming out of this replay. Chocho though does get caught at instant TP coming through from ZWuJi and the secondary TP onto the same ward from Forge. So as soon as iBoy's locked up, we talk about it. The threat onto the backline with ZWuJi and Forge is absolutely insane. Betty is free hitting across the board here. Cube, screw Gwen. As he looked out towards the bottom half of this fight as well. Betty then ends up falling towards the Olaf, but we're in towards fight number 2.
Another fight coming up. FoFo gets onto the Drake. It's reset 2000 now as Leyan is on the scene. Solar Flare comes in. They're going to be able to get the smite. There's the Drake taken. Can they get the fight as well? They got the pick. FoFo's caught though. ZWuJi wants a return on the 1v1. iBoy, the Shuriken lands from Forge. It's too clean as it gets onto FoFo as well. Forge making his name known. ZWuJi against Cube here. Hung just trying to base space, but Forge gets the triple, gets the quadra, and shows his Akali cannot be matched.
Forge on Assassins, man. Look at him go. Picking up everyone on Rare Adam. And now, Rogue Warriors, even though they don't get the dragon, they will start to push in these sides, get more control of this map for themselves. They have to be so careful, though. 4.5 minutes until that dragon spawns, and that is an ocean soul potential for Rare Adam. But let's watch this again. ZWuJi doing a phenomenal job at every one of these fights in getting on towards the back line. This time it's FoFo, and although FoFo buys so much time, the rest of Rogue Warriors are just diving on towards Rare Adam. And then you talked about a Forge, the Shuriken flip, the follow through, and the solo laners for Rogue Warriors carrying through in these fights.
What a performance coming out from Forge here today. And here's the thing about Forge. He's criticized a lot as a mid laner But at the end of the day, when it comes to melee mid laners, it's always what he's been good at, right? Things like this Akali, things like the Silas have always been his specialist picks. Well, now they're meta. And sure, he still hasn't looked good this split, even on those picks. He has the potential. We've seen it before. We've seen it in the past. Now with the Medjai's 10 stack strong already, he's 6-1-6. This is Forge's game to win right here. He's the man with everything on his shoulders. He gets the quadra kill. His team is now 6,000 gold up. Baron is on the card stack there as ZWuJi threatens in the bottom side.
Yeah, they're waiting for that TP from ZWuJi before they try and overcommit towards this. But again, remember we talked about the side lane pressure from Rogue Warriors is crazy strong with the Camille and this Akali as well. So you always need to be careful of Rare Adam of being flanked. And you can see ZWuJi already threatened that with iBoy sitting in this mid lane, vulnerable if Rare Adam are not there to protect him.
3 members strong for Rogue Warriors, sorry. They both start with R. It's a difficult one to cast, I'm not going to lie. As the Baron is just going to be started up here by Betty. Does have a shield both. There is no vision here from the side of Rare Atom. They do have a blue trinket remaining, which they're not going to use just yet. As the threat comes out, Hung going to be hit with the arrow once more, but does pull himself away to safety. Leyan threatening the re-engage, but it's difficult to get in. As an Olaf against an Ashe, it's very, very difficult. Baron started once more. Forge off on the side, fishing for picks here. Trouble Bubble goes in. There's the blue trinket, finally used. It's going to be 6,000 on the Baron. They're just committing to this one. Leyan does not have flash available. He won't be able to get into the pit for himself. This is just going to be smited away. And now Rogue Warriors, they could just walk away. With no flash on Leyan, what can Rare Atom do?
And Forge was doing such a good job of sitting over the back of the base, or back of the pit even, stopping Rare Atom from trying to contest. And now, Rogue Warriors, they just skip away with it. They get that entirely for free, as Rare Atom were trying to just clear out the vision that was in their topside jungle.
Okay, let's reset a second here, Dagda, because I've got a feeling
I don't want to budge.
that the Rogue Warriors hype train is literally leaving the station as we speak. Let's just return to reality for a moment, talk about Rare Atom. What can this team do to stay in? Because the late game is where they come up trumps. You can see FoFo right now, 4-1-2 on this Zoe. Is it still possible for the comeback to come true?
The biggest thing that needs to happen for these guys is like an insane depth charge from Hung that catches like Betty, Chocho, Xiaohao, and like almost having Hung play defense as Rare Atom deal with ZWuJi and Forge in the backline. Like, iBoy is under so much threat here, he's just not getting to be a champion. So you need to be able to buy space by either just killing the threats or being able to force them back. And if that's the case, maybe you can do some good, but it's so hard. Like, Forge, he's able to wait out these fights for so damn long. Like, he's 6-1 right now. There is no pressure for him to quickly engage, and he buys so much attention from Rare Atom that you have to then reposition and change your entire perspective at the threat of this Akali.
Okay, well, Drake coming up in 15 seconds, and I have to say, I'm totally okay with iBoy feeling like he doesn't get to have a champion here, because Aphelios last year was basically the equivalent of 3 champions, so this feels only fair that he has a few games where he doesn't get to be one anymore. Drake is up, though, and it feels like Rogue Warriors should be primed to be able to just grab this one. I don't think there's any way Leyan can contest. It would be sold for Rare Atom if they're able to get it, but Rogue Warriors are on the scene. I'm not sure if I've said one of the names wrong during all of that spiel. I feel like my brain is turning to mush after this insane series. And Forge threatening at the bottom side as well. Does need to be careful because everyone from Rare Atom is moving over, but he can just play this slow with the siege minions, use that Baron buff to buy yourself space.
I mean, we've got QiuQiu managed to take that lane, or the tower in that top lane. So we're starting to see kind of Rare Atom seeing if they can find these moments to push out, get some sort of control back on the map. But already ZWuJi, he's up, he's going to start pushing as well. Has the TP to try and join in. And although you do have the longer range with FoFo, with Rogue Warriors mid laner, Betty's still able to do a lot of work underneath these towers. He can siege up pretty well and actually start to chip away at these structures as Rare Atom tried to deal with the pushes.
Yeah. And look at ZWuJi. He's already pushing up in this top side, has a Baron up minion wave. Nobody is here to stop him unless a TP comes through. ZWuJi should be able to just shred the tower, but that trouble bubble could mean literally trouble for him, but it's not going to happen. No follow-up here. Cube just clears away the wave. Baron has now timed out. So that extra pressure that Rogue Warriors have is going to be minimized as another wave is pushed under the tower. And they are just pulling Rare Atom across the map here. Baron not up for another 2.5 minutes. Drake not up for 3.5 minutes. And Dagda, that feels to me like we may have a bit of a respite for a couple of minutes' time.
It is so difficult for Rare Atom to deal with this, right? Because, like, let's look at the 3 different things that they want to really do, right? One is try and control these side lanes because of how much pressure is just being put in by the minions. Well, you're already losing the 1-3-1 just because your top and your mid just can't answer for how far ahead Rogue Warriors are. You're then looking at, okay, well, if we actually are trying to overload one side of the map where we put pressure here with, like, FoFo and Cube in a lane to try and deal with ZDZ, well, then you always have to be careful of Betty going for an Enchanted Crystal onto Hung, on towards iBoy, following up with Cho. And even when you come towards these team fights, it doesn't really feel like Rare Atom have a chance. It feels like it's still Rogue Warriors'
top side here. ZDZ's going to finish the tower off. He's looking for Cube as well. Xiaohao comes in. The knock-up's there. The Solar Flare is there. Cube trying to make Gwen look like a balanced champion here as he actually dies. I don't think we've ever seen that before. And Leyan going to be able to get out with the Ragnarok. Keeps himself safe at least, but it's still another pick for Rogue Warriors. It's still another objective for Rogue Warriors. ZDZ actually has teleport. But I think the wave is going to push out. No, he is going to commit to going to that bottom side. Betty moves to the mid lane. They're just going to try and pressure all 3 lanes.
Yeah, 30 seconds until Cube is up. They don't actually have an objective that they need to worry about right now. It's another minute till Baron's up, so potentially here to try and crack open the base of Rare Atom right before they go towards that Baron. But Rogue Warriors, it looks like with Leyan clearing it out, they're actually not going to. So bit of a wasted TP here from Rogue Warriors, but they do want to make sure they're resetting now to have that pressure for Baron.
Yeah, TP's down to the bottom lane just to check if the camps are up. And spoilers, they weren't, so...
So it was the TP to get the gold for the GA. ZDZ now becomes an even more of a nuisance in the backline for Rare Atom. And that could mean a big difference here, especially when we look towards the ability for Forge, who has his own TP, to actually become that bot lane split pusher and allow ZDZ to still play with the team towards this Baron.
And remember, Baron up in 25 seconds. Rogue Warriors have complete control of the jungle. Last time around, we saw them do exactly this. Get deep vision, have Forge sat in the jungle, and then threaten the all-in from Forge. Just play distraction while the rest of the team kills the Baron. This time around, though, Leyan has Ragnarok, he has Flash. We've all seen it before where Olaf just sprints through the team, gets the smite on Baron, and saves the day. It's possible for Leyan. But the question at that point would be, what does it cost? Because your 10k go down at this point, and Rogue Warriors could certainly win a 5v4 and finish the game, even without a Baron. RA contesting. Forge doesn't buy the same amount of space this time around. It's a good paddle start, but not enough. Xiaohao happy to tank up this Baron for his team. Arrow goes in. Rogue Warriors want to go for the fight. iBoy immediately caught up and just eradicated. And now Rogue Warriors, they get to do their victory lap. They get to just chase down the whole team. Forge looking for a 1v1 with FoFo, and he finds it easily. Rogue Warriors have all but done it. The advanced Hex Flash comes out once more. The short-range teleport, as they don't even want to just end the game. They don't have waves. They had to defend this wave on the top side. Forge now looks for the 1v1. Leyan could even win it, but it doesn't matter because Forge has himself a shroud. You don't get to auto-attack in this matchup. There's a shuriken, and one more 5-point strike will finish off the job. The Viking falls, and so does the rest of Rare Atom as the 14th place team in the LPL takes down one of the Titans, and Rogue Warriors keep their playoffs dreams alive.
The hype train has officially left the station. Captain Asterix is on board leading the charge because, oh my god, Rogue Warriors come out and beat Rare Atom, and it's not some sort of cheesy strat. It's not where we're seeing them going for these backdoor plays and there's question marks around the validity. This was Rogue Warriors beating Rare Atom cleanly at League of Legends, having the ability to play around these picks, finding the opportunities to set up their solo laners, and the team fight coordination between those solo laners made it impossible for iBoy to play this game. Rogue Warriors, take a bow.
I have to say, that seems to be different levels of hype from the side of Rogue Warriors. Got one or two players that are over the moon, and the rest don't actually look that happy about the situation. But hey, they do still have a long road ahead of them if they want to make it to playoffs. They already have 7 losses chalked up to their name, but with this win, that'll be their 4th one. They are now, I mean, they move all the way up from 14th to 13th place. It's a, tremendous leap forward. It's not, but it is a step on the path, right? It is a step forward, and hey, a lot of teams in the LPL towards the bottom half of playoffs right now. Think teams like OMG, BLG, WE, LGD, all faltering recently. So maybe there's an opportunity to find a way in.
I'm looking at IG. I mean, it's Invictus Gaming that Rogue Warriors now rise above, right? 4 and 7. Yep. And if you're hoping for IG to make that miracle play to get back into playoffs, well, this kind of plays coming through from Rogue Warriors where they're taking down wins against these crucial top teams means that you're kind of looking as an IG fan a bit sideways going, come on lads, what's happening here? But I mean, this was incredible from Rogue Warriors. The ability to play through this early game, like Xiaohao punishing heavily on that bottom side of the map, looking for these picks with Betty, and also Forge and ZWuJi. Like, ZWuJi's Camille looked incredible this entire series long.
Yeah. And even though he wasn't winning the 1v1, that's just the nature of having Gwen on your team. You pretty much win every matchup and have pressure in every lane and also are a better team fighter than every other top laner. But ZWuJi doesn't need Gwen to be able to win this matchup. He was able to use the pressure in the side lane so effectively, get involved in those fights, and consistently found his way onto iBoy. And this is the thing that Camille brings. What can you do? Cleanse isn't going to save you there.
And there was nothing that he could do. Like, the 2-man combo between ZWuJi and Forge meant that, like, unless you're able to build lasagnas, you're kind of done for. And that's why FoFo kind of got away with it. You can see the one time that ZWuJi tried to jump on him, FoFo lasagnaed, and then he still managed to die to Forge. Like, this was such a potent combo, and kind of surprised to see the Akali honestly slip through the draft. We didn't get to go through the draft phase, but this is such a strong pick on the current patch. I mean, even before this game today, it was sitting like 67% win rate. So the fact that you managed to get this big pick and then make these plays is absolutely incredible.
Beautiful stuff in Forge as well. We've got to talk about him, haven't we? He's the MVP. I think we all knew he was going to be the MVP after that quadra kill came on in. Forge had an amazing Akali performance for himself. 8-1 and 8, and I think that this is a breath of fresh air for Forge because he's had a rough split. He's had a rough couple of years, honestly, and I feel like these kind of performances are needed to keep your mentality high, and it feels like in the camp of Rogue Warriors, mentality must be at all-time high.
And again, giving kind of more lanes that you can actually look to go, okay, if we have these certain champions, we can look to be a carry. Because it feels like for Forge, it was very much about, okay, can Betty get up and rolling? Like, it's definitely Xiaohao, playing down towards that bottom half of the map. But now that Forge is able to come out on these assassins, he looks really good as well on that Zoe. It feels like we've actually got a few champions now that Forge can have these standout performances and give more credence to Rogue Warriors and their ability to try and push towards playoffs.
Certainly can, and it feels like Rogue Warriors showing us multiple ways that they can win the game, showing us that this is a real team now. And I think there's something you mentioned earlier that I really want to hammer home. This was not cheese, right? We've seen it time and time again, not just in the LPL, in leagues across the world, where a low-tier team starts to pick up a few wins in a row because they figured out a new strategy and nobody's figured out how to beat it yet. And then it gets shut down. Think OMG this split, honestly, having really, really aggressive dive compositions, consistently winning, and now teams have figured out how to beat those dive compositions. The wins have stopped coming on in. Rogue Warriors are winning through good League of Legends, and it's incredibly refreshing to see. Now, we are 6 games in today, and we are only just beginning. We're going to jump into a break, and then you will want to join us again because we're jumping into